Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to...
Why you can eat everything and stay thin in France?
How do French people stay so thin
Do
while
you
pretty
believe
much
that?
eating?
Do you think?
No, I don't believe that. I don't think they eat everything. I think they just maybe appetite is not as big as it could be.
Whatever they want. I'm French, I live in Paris, and on my last video on the topic,
The
people
thing
try to
is,
guess the secrets
when we have people, our friends or family come from Europe and they come to us with us like to a buffet, they cannot eat.
Yeah, just people eat less. I don't think they eat everything.
Yeah.
They just eat less.
behind the French diet and often got it completely wrong. So today I want to break down the biggest myths before showing you how I actually eat as a French person. Alright, one of the biggest stereotypes on why French people are so thin is this idea that red wine is somehow the secret. And this idea really blew up a long time ago thanks to this 60 Minutes episode that aired before I was born and that talks about what is called the French paradox. And this is this idea that we supposedly eat unhealthy things like wine, cheese, and fattening foods, and yet stay slim and healthy. And what sounds crazy to me is that this TV show had massive consequences and apparently even contributed to a 40% increase in red wine sales in the US. So first of all, the idea that red wine is good for your health has been debunked in 2006.
I heard that, like, they say you should drink 1 glass of red wine every day.
That's how you become an alcoholic. A glass every day, no.
Still receive so many comments about it, so I do feel the need
Now, if you want to get a glass or a couple of glasses on the weekend, that's cool. But every day, the everyday part is that bad.
to address it. First of all, I have never ever heard a French person say that they should drink more wine to stay thin. This is not a thing here. Red wine is part of our culture, but definitely not a health food and absolutely not the secret to weight loss. And in France, wine is all about the experience. You usually drink it with food, often share a glass at dinner or with friends. Personally, have never drank wine alone. It's something I always share with other people. And we're gonna talk about the French mindset around eating a bit later because it's way closer to a real French diet secret than looking for the one thing that will solve it all. And that brings me to another big myth that has serious consequences, which is smoking. Everywhere online,
Yes, smoking does help people lose weight. That has been proven scientifically. Unfortunately, it works a little bit. Not
Yeah, but it's not-
significantly, but it does help.
But it has effects to your health as
It
as
does,
well.
it does, but if you're talking about weight loss, smoking does have an effect on that.
people love to say that French people stay thin just because they smoke, but that's absolutely not true. I personally don't smoke and I don't know a lot of people who do, and I've never seen a French person say that they're gonna skip a meal and just have a cigarette instead. That's just an overused trope you see in the movies and not real life. And for the people who do smoke, smoking is often linked to coffee breaks, so smokers would often do it with friends, colleagues, maybe while having a drink, while drinking coffee after a meal, or while taking a break at work. There's even a French expression for the coffee and cigarette break, which is called café clope, and this mostly happens outside, so either at a cafe or in the street, because in France it is forbidden to smoke indoors. So that's why you see so many people smoking in the street in France. As a non-smoker, I would just, for example, take a coffee break inside. And
That's interesting how in the States, in Vegas, you could smoke inside.
That was super
So,
weird.
so
super weird.
interesting.
go outside. Also, the smoking rates are slowly declining in France, and there's more and more places where you can smoke in, which as a non-smoker, I'm really happy about. Like, for example, now there's a lot of parks where you can smoke in Paris, and my local park, which is so peaceful and so nice, is one of them, which is absolutely amazing. Also, obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not here to add to the debate on whether smokers are thinner than non-smokers or not. I'm just gonna say that it's a controversial topic, and that smoking is the main cause of preventable disease in many countries, including the US and France. Also, 6 out of 10 people who smoke in France say they want to quit. But anyways, I found French data on weight gain and smoking, and apparently 1 in 3 smokers doesn't gain weight after quitting. And for those who do gain weight, the average weight gain is between 2 and 4 kilos, which is 4 to 9 pounds. I don't think it's big enough to actually make a difference. Then I receive
It does make a difference. As I said, I have researched it before. It has proven it
You're
curbs
not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor, yes, but I have read. It does curb your appetite. That makes you want to eat less. So, I mean, you don't need to smoke if you just eat less, but and obviously it's probably not worth it to go smoking route to curb your appetite. I'm sure there's other ways, but smoking does help. Not smoking, period, because smoking weed, the opposite effect, it makes you fat. Smoking nicotine, it's the nicotine itself. So I guess nicotine patch would, I assume, would work in similar way. It's the nicotine that actually does that.
A lot of comments from people who think French people just have good genes. Obviously, that's also a myth. Obesity rates are increasing in France, just like pretty much anywhere in the world. However, we're still towards the bottom of the list in terms of ranking, and we have very low rates compared to other countries. Also, I just want to say that I have personal experience with that. I feel I can just eat anything I want anywhere. Like, for example, when I moved to the US, I did gain a little bit of weight because the eating habits were very different from what I'm used to, and also I wanted to try all the delicious comfort food. And it's not just me, it seems to be quite a common experience. Also, some people seem to think that French people stay thin
you
because we're
arrived
constantly
to the States, did you gain weight?
Yes.
How much weight did you gain?
I don't know. I got
What did
fatter.
you eat? Yes.
Yes, I did.
What did you eat when you get here? What did you
I don't
try?
know.
What was like your first American meal? Do you recall?
First American meal.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I don't even know.
Really?
I don't remember now.
So what made you fat? What did you eat? What did you like?
Honestly, I don't know.
I think what shook you was like as your school, you could eat as much as you
I
wanted.
think so. Yeah, it was the school buffet that you come
Mhm.
to school, the buffet, all you can eat, so you just eat a lot. I think that's what it was. That would be my guess. Yeah. That's why they call it. You know, they say when you go to college, it's like freshman 15.
Mm-hmm.
restricting ourselves, but that's really not
Did
the
you try
case.
like
Of
new
course,
foods?
there
Like,
are eating
was all the foods very foreign for you? Like things that you wouldn't have eaten here in Europe? Like, do you guys eat pizza
No.
every day? Do you guys like
It wasn't like it
burgers?
was all kinds of foods. It wasn't like anything
Mhm.
spectacular. It was all kinds
Mhm.
of foods. The best thing they had at Clark though, it was like on the weekends, they would bring like leftover Dunkin' Donuts because they throw it out. So the school would take it
Mhm.
instead of throwing it out and would bring it. Oh my god, that was so good. Dunkin' Donuts.
disorders in France, just like anywhere else in the world. But I feel that as a culture, we are not as much into extreme dieting than in other places. Instead, I feel we really have a culture of actually enjoying food, which we'll get into in the next section. Also, don't even look towards weight loss drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy. It's not as much of a thing here. Less than 1% of users
Is it
take it for
affordable
weight
there?
loss, and it's very
Like,
Well,
this is
it's
part
said,
of.
look, Wegovy's $10 in France and 1,300 in US.
Wow, I wonder if people over there take it.
I don't know.
strictly controlled and mostly prescribed to people who have diabetes. Alright, so by now you probably get it. What I'm trying to tell you here is that there are no quick fixes. Like, there is no single thing that will make you effortlessly thin. And in reality, it's way more about how we actually eat. And that's exactly what I want to show you in this next section, obviously through my own experience, while getting into what I think are the
My guess would be before he said eating slower. I think they enjoy their food more to a point that they talk more during dinner times.
So they don't end up eating everything?
What?
So they don't end up eating everything?
No, it's just like because it takes about 20 minutes to start eating full after you start eating. So if you're kind of sitting there talking, maybe sipping a little wine or whatever you're sipping on the side, 20 minutes go by, you barely touch your plate. You're like halfway into your plate instead of if you kind of eating by yourself, you just like a fucking eating competition who can eat faster. So my guess would be that, but let's see what she says.
the real French diet secrets. And I'm really excited to get into it because this is one of the biggest questions I actually receive on all my other videos on the topic. So here's the truth. One thing you need to know about France is that food is really about enjoyment. And I even found a study that says that 92% of French people find food enjoyable instead of just considering it as
Which is, we did just a couple days ago video about, remember the girl, she said, oh, Europeans view food more as a fuel and not as like pleasure. We knew she was lying.
fuel. And my personal opinion is that when you really take time to appreciate your food, you develop a more balanced and mindful way of eating and also a better relationship with food. Also in France, there is a deep appreciation for good products and how they're made. Like, it's not just about what we eat, but also where it comes from. And that's where this French concept of terroir comes in, which means that certain foods come from specific regions and are made using traditional methods. And one way you can really see that is by taking a trip to the Champagne region. And that's exactly what we did with my friend Stella. We started our little Champagne expedition with visiting Pommery, which is a champagne house that was created in the 19th century and has these incredibly beautiful underground cellars. Then we went to check out a smaller independent champagne grower in the countryside, and there we learned how champagne is made. We shared a delicious meal with our group, and of course we got to try their champagne. This next one we visited is family owned, and it was so special since the grandfather of the owners dug the cellars by himself in the 50s. And to be honest, I would have never found all of these cool things on my own,
That's
and this is why I booked
cool.
the experience on
That's a
Facebook. Milk is a
man.
long-term partner of the channel,
Whoa.
and I really amazing. Click the link. Just my people cultural heritage. So way of eating is literally discount. All right.
The
So
standards
this is
of that
just
family is like must be insane. Like you have someone in your family that build like like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
my personal opinion. The French way of eating is literally recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. So meals in France, they follow a structure. We all sit down, there's many courses, we take our time, and obviously it's all about sharing food with others. Usually these meals are pretty big and the food is heavier than what I would eat at home, but what I eat during the special meals is exactly like in my food videos. So I really go into these meals with the idea of enjoying the food and the company, and not with a goal of being thin or looking a certain way, because this would totally kill my enjoyment of the meal. Also, I don't like to think of some foods as being good and others being bad, so I never restrict myself, and instead I apply common sense, like I eat foods that make me feel good, and I just stop eating when I feel full. Obviously, I couldn't eat those special meals every single day, and I would say that there's a big difference between the special French meals and the meals we eat on the daily. I think this is why I get so many questions on the topic, so I'm really excited to finally share this with you. Also, side note, this is obviously my own perspective. There are a lot of people in France, all with different tastes and habits, and I'm not saying that every single person in France eats like me. Alright, so this is what my breakfast usually looks like. I usually wake up between 7 and 8 a.m. and I start my day by drinking a giant latte that I make at home with whole milk. And here, I know a lot of people will say that this is considered a bad food, but remember we talked about not demonizing any food, and I really like the taste of whole milk. The milk you can find in France is really
Yeah,
good.
for
This one
you,
is a bit
you drink like the special milk.
What, animal milk?
Yeah, but even before that, you would drink like 2% or no
Yeah,
fat.
fat-free milk.
Fat-free-
Yeah, but
fat-free
now I
milk.
drink almond milk, but
Is
it
it
just
because of
lasts longer.
health?
No, it lasts longer because but here I don't consume that much milk, so
Mhm.
to buy like a big jug of milk, it just goes bad before I finish it. So almond milk, it lasts for a long time, so it's just don't not wasting food. But I do notice a taste difference. I was eating cereal yesterday
With
with almond milk.
Mhm.
It does not
is,
taste
is that the same?
It's just not
Is
the
it
same.
worse or
It's
better?
worse.
It's
worse,
worse. So why
yeah.
don't you? Because you said why don't you buy smaller containers of milk and just have milk for that period?
It's expensive.
It's expensive. So for you, would you say that would you agree that milk is not something humans should consume after their
No,
babies?
milk is
Because there's some
awesome.
articles.
What?
There's some articles that says
No.
milk is not something that should be consumed.
I love milk. I don't consume a lot of milk, but I love it.
special because
I see absolutely nothing wrong with milk.
it's lait frais. So it's fresher than the other milks and you can keep it for too long. Then the other thing I have pretty much
Wow.
every single day is bread. And here I'm lucky where I live, there's 1,000 bakeries around. So it's always fun for me to go out and go pick up bread. The one I picked today is a sourdough rye bread. And when I got it, it was really hot. It was straight from the
For
oven.
you, do you
Then I always
prefer
put salty
the
butter on top of
rye bread or the regular bread?
Regular bread.
Regular bread.
Yeah.
my bread. And that's it. That's pretty much my breakfast every single day of the week. I'll eat as many
Well, I mean, if that's her breakfast, that's what,
Yeah.
like a
That's
100
very
calories per
little.
breakfast.
That is not a
slices of bread as
breakfast.
it takes
It's
to not be
giving
hungry
us
anymore.
no.
And on the weekends, I'm gonna have a larger breakfast and maybe even go out for brunch. So for lunch, I usually eat something quick. At least for French standards, I tend to take between 30 minutes to an hour to eat. Often during
There was
the week,
no
most people
protein really in that meal.
will share a meal with their colleagues, but since I'm self-employed, I try to go eat lunch with a friend at least a few times a month. And today I met with my friend Camille, and we went to a crêperie, which is what you call a crepe restaurant in France. By the way, this one
This
is
is
an absolute
lunch?
gem and is linked on my map with around 200 of my favorite places for food in Paris. So here we had galettes,
This
which are
looks more
savory
like
crepes that are
breakfast.
made with buckwheat flour. Mine had some apple, some raclette cheese, and some lardons, which are little pieces of ham. And all that is served with a side salad. This was absolutely delicious, and it kept me full all afternoon. And right now
And that's like 300 to 400 calories tops. There's not much there.
it's 4 p.m.
Yeah,
and it's
and
time
not
for my
too
favorite
much
French
protein
meal, which
again.
is goûter.
Diaper rash sucks, baby. So we made a new diaper. Huggy Skin Essentials diaper helps protect.
Goûter is what we call our mid-afternoon snack. It's usually something that's mostly for kids, but as an adult, I have to say that I absolutely love goûter. It's the perfect occasion to take a break during the workday, and usually I often grab tea and a fruit, maybe some bread, and maybe once a week I'll pick up a treat like a pastry. So this is what I did today, and I picked up a pain
Again,
au chocolat aux amandes from one of
very
my favorite
little
bakeries
to
in
no-
Léonie,
no
and it's basically
protein.
a chocolate
Let's-
croissant
This
is the
with
majority
almond
of the
cream in it.
calories.
It's
Yeah, let's say 300 to 400 again.
Yeah.
so delicious, and it's definitely a treat. So here what I want to share with you is that most of the time, I follow the same structure when I eat every single day. But I feel that while it's good to have a structure because I know exactly when I'm gonna
So
eat
what's
and
for
what type
dinner?
of food I'm gonna eat, it's also
Yeah.
great to not be
Oh,
too rigid
protein.
and, break the routine from time to time. Also, I really want to stress the fact that all the meals balance each other out over the course of a week. Like, I'm not eating exactly the same way every single day. Alright, so after this big good day, I'm actually craving veggies for dinner. And usually I go to the restaurant or to dinner parties at friends' places a few times a week. But most of the time I actually just cook at home with my boyfriend Bobby. We usually get our veggies from a co-op that sells products directly from small producers. We just eat whatever
I
veggies
do
is in
not
season
believe
and we
she's
try
not
to cook it
hungry.
in a way that we like. I feel it makes it so easy to eat veggies, and also I feel
Why?
cooking doesn't really
I
feel
wanna
like
see how
a
much she's
chore. It's
gonna
like more
eat.
something we do
I mean, if she doesn't work out, she doesn't really burn much calories. She don't need more food.
That's very little
I
food.
mean, she's probably very petite.
together. So tonight, as you can see, we're doing leeks, and I usually make them in such a simple way. I just remove the parts I don't want to eat, slice them in half, wash them really well, and then roast them in the oven with a bunch of olive oil and seasoning. And with that, I make some homemade puree, which are basically boiled mashed potatoes that are then mixed with olive oil and garlic. And seriously, this is one of my go-to meals. I'm not even a good cook. This is so simple and really delicious. I feel we eat that at least once a week, especially now that leeks are in season. And for dessert, I'm gonna make baked apples, which are exactly that. They're sliced apples, topped with cinnamon, a tiny bit of salty butter, and then you just throw them in the oven. Think of that as like an apple pie without the pie crust. So anyways, as you can probably see, the real French diet secret is pretty straightforward. It's all about eating good food.
So French diet secret is about not eating. That's the
That's
diet
what I
secret.
said. That's what I
So the
said.
title, why you can eat everything? No. Why you don't eat shit and you stay thin? Well, yes, that's common sense. She
This
eats
is
like
awful.
12 to 1500 calories a day. I
This is
mean,
awful.
in
Not
any country, if
advisable.
that's how you ate, you will stay thin. I'm sorry, there was no protein whatsoever, not one like
She's very
had
petite.
she probably have 220 grams of protein the whole day. Listen, I
She's
mean, if
very
the diet
little.
works for her, that's good. I'm not criticizing her diet. That's her choice. It's more so the title. She said why you can eat everything, which is false.
No.
You cannot eat everything. The amounts she's eating is, yeah. I could not survive of that. I would die. So would you.
Listen, that food has to be split too. You see, she was making dinner for her boyfriend too.
I don't. Yeah. And
Pretty
that's
much.
but that's exactly what I was telling you. You think you go to Europe, you eat what you want, and you stay thin. No, you go to Europe. This is how you eat, and you stay thin. Not you eat whatever you want. That doesn't happen. The calories is
If I was
calories.
to make changes, the bread and butter toast,
Put at least some ham on it, or
something,
cheese, or
put some meat in
something.
it,
Yeah, some
egg,
protein.
something. And then she
Uh,
doesn't need to do the pastry. You put
Nah, just a
please put
dessert. It's
protein.
just okay.
Yeah, but she has dessert right now. Apple with the with the
She
little
likes
cinnamon.
desserts. I like desserts too. So what?
Yeah, but if you're saying you're gonna eat every day, I'm gonna be hungry just eating that.
Yeah, but you work out. She probably doesn't. You burn more calories than she does. She doesn't need much calories. I don't know if she's like 5'4". She doesn't work out. She probably
I thought she
1500.
like walks around.
She works from home. Where she walked? Do you really think people in Europe just go on the street and walk back and forth because they have nothing to do? That's what you really think they do in Europe. You walk when you have a place to go. If she has to go bread. She goes to a corner store, to a corner bakery to buy bread. Yeah, sure, but that's like 10 minutes of the day.
Oh, she also had the crepe.
Yeah, like I mean, people in Europe, they don't just walk to walk for the sake of walking because they want to
And not
walk.
too much liquids either.
Well, she didn't show that. Like she probably
Yeah, she
drank
did. She
water.
said she has tea.
No, I know, but like if she drinks water,
A
she's
little
not gonna
coffee.
show.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
yeah.
the title didn't really.
Guys, please eat more. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.